Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where today I'm bringing you guys an easy beginner's guide to highlighting and contouring. Yeah, you got So for any of you guys who have always been really confused when it comes to highlighting, contouring, and you have no idea where to start, or you end up getting it wrong every time you try it out, today I'm going to show you guys step by step on how to perfect that highlight and contour using powders. Okay guys, so I've already got my eye makeup on, and if you want to see how I created this look, it's actually already up on my channel. It was a video I posted last week for my Valentine's Day glam. So for now, I've popped on my base and I've used the Chanel Perfection Lumière foundation, which is a foundation that I really love, especially if you like that kind of like full coverage matte finish. Now for my dry skin girls out there, this is actually really hydrating. I actually really like this one because it doesn't dry my skin out too much. For my oily skin girls, you guys are absolutely fine. It's oil free, it's got a matte finish, it really controls that shine too. I've then also set my makeup with the MAC Mineralize powder, and the shade I've used is medium golden. Now I love this mineral powder, especially to put on top of my foundations. It's just super lightweight. I find that they don't sit in my dry areas as much, but if you are someone who prefers more of a softer powder look, then again, go for the mineral option. Okay, so now we're ready for our easy how to contour. Now guys, for me, powder contouring is the easiest way to contour. I think cream and liquid look great, but they do take a lot more time. So considering this is a beginner's highlighting contouring video, I want to show you guys the easiest and quickest way to do this. So all you're going to need for your powder contouring are these two brushes. Now if you notice this one, it's got a bit of an angle, kind of like a slant sort of edge to it, and we're going to be using this for our contour and our blush. Yes, that's right guys. If you've seen my videos before, you've noticed someone who's quite efficient, aka lazy. So if I don't need to use two brushes, if I can just use one to do two jobs, then I will do. And the other brush you're going to need is a big fluffy powder brush. So this is probably a brush that you've used to kind of set your face with your face powder that you would have done already, so you can just use the same one. So guys, when it comes to powder contouring, you can literally use any powder product, and that's what makes it so easy. As long as it is 1 or 2 shades darker than your natural skin tone and it is matte. Now what that means is you can even use like a face powder that you might have bought that was like too dark for you and you're like thinking, oh, what do I do with this? And you kind of pushed it to the side. You can use that to contour with. It could be a blusher that you once bought that was maybe a bit too brown or more of like a skin tone color, and you're like, oh no, I don't really want to use this on my cheeks. You can use that to contour with. I personally love using a bronzer, so it's absolutely okay to use a bronzer. The difference is though, when you pick a bronzer to contour with, you need to make sure that firstly it's not an orangey bronzer, because some of those bronzers out there can be super orange. You don't want an orange stripe on your face. And secondly, again, that it's not shimmery. So the one that I love to use, which adds a bit of warmth to my skin and is perfect for my contour, is this one here. It's called Give Me Sun, and again, it's by MAC. Now guys, with contouring, it's all about the angle on your face. And the main one you want to follow, which I find so much easier, and this works for everyone's face shape, is basically the top of your ear down to the corner of your mouth. So if I turn a little bit more to the side, you can see it's just that angle there. You can even use like a brush like I am and just guide it to where it should be. What you want to do is you want to stop where your eye starts. So you're sort of going along this angle and stopping around about here, which is where your eye just starts there. You're going to focus mainly on the edge of that brush. So this part here, this fluffy side, you're going to save for your blusher. And you're basically just going to take that edge, and I'm going to show you guys this really, really slowly. But what you're doing is you're following the angle and you're basically scooping up that cheekbone. So can you guys see how I'm doing a bit more of like a curved action? So it's not just going directly down like that, guys. And then when you sometimes see, you know, contouring that's done really quick or in live action, like I said, you kind of just see it just doing this. And if you start doing that, where do we think our brush is going? Exactly, it's going all the way down, and you look a bit sad like that, which is not a great look. So what you want to do is you want to lift and scoop up those cheekbones. So really kind of give it that curved action. Now notice, again, I'm stopping where the eye starts and I'm really kind of curving up that cheekbone. Now guys, if it's not blending smooth enough, you need to kind of apply a bit more pressure with your brush. So apply a bit more pressure, kind of push it into the skin a little bit. And you can even, once you're used to the motion, get a little bit quicker. So still keeping in mind that curved action, but you can go a little bit faster if you're brave enough. Otherwise, just keep going a little bit slow if you still need to get used to it. You can build this up to however kind of dark you really want it. So it's kind of just personal preference as to how dark you want your contour, right? So we all know that our foreheads can be a little bit darker, and if you're someone who likes to kind of warm up your foundation as well, this is a great trick. But you want to kind of contour around the temples of your forehead. So I'm going to use the same brush, the same bronzer, and I'm basically just going to go around the temples of my forehead like so. And you don't want to use as much as you did for your cheekbones, because obviously you don't want your forehead looking like really dark around there. It's not the best look, but kind of just like a soft kind of wash of color. So I just take a little bit less than what I probably did for my cheekbones, and I just like to apply this to warm up my face. So guys, that's actually your basic contour pretty much done. I know it sounds surprising, but it is literally as simple as just adding in a nice warm color to give it a little bit of shadow and a bit of shape to the face. But the reason you needed your powder brush is because, guys, if you've done this for the first time, or if you're a beginner, you might find that your, contour line was a bit too harsh, or you went a bit too low with it. So what you can do is use your powder brush to kind of soften out those edges, almost a bit like an eraser. But what I'm not doing, guys, is I'm not going over the whole thing with my powder brush. I'm just going underneath that kind of line just to soften that out. So you can use your powder brush just to do that. And again, also with the forehead, if you went a bit too dark, or if you want to soften that out, you can use your powder brush to do the same thing. So you can already kind of see the difference with the shape and the warmth that it gives my face. So that's why I'm kind of leaving this side blank, just to show you guys what a difference contouring can make. But with this side, all I've done is my bronzer. Now, like I said, guys, this is basically your easy basic contouring. So if some of you are happy with this, then you can continue with your blusher and highlight, which I'm going to do in a minute. But what I am going to do is advance this a little bit and make this contour a little bit more glam. So for my glam girls out there, so we had an option for the natural girls, and for my glam girls out there, if you want to deepen up that contour. So guys, when it comes to advanced powder contouring, I love layering my contour products. So I love doing a bit of bronze first, just to kind of warm up the skin. But then I like to use a second sort of darker contour color. Now, you'd be surprised, this isn't actually technically a contour product, but it doesn't have to be. Remember, with powder contouring, you can use anything that is a powder-based product. This is actually the Tom Ford Flawless Powder Foundation that I'm using. It's just the color was really good for my skin tone to kind of contour with. And it's also a little bit deeper than my bronzer. Again, it is matte, so we're not using any shimmer. So I am using the same brush, guys, but this time I'm keeping my movement even smaller, because you kind of really want to use this darker color to get really into that bone. And actually, guys, if you even just place your fingers and feel kind of like where your bone is and push that up, you'll notice where that bone sits. And it's almost like you're pushing this kind of darker color into the depths of that bone. But it is the same angle, guys, so still the top of the ear down to the corner of the mouth, and it is still stopping where your eye starts. In fact, even just like a little bit kind of before if you wanted to. So kind of just in this little tiny area here, keeping in mind that sort of curved motion to really lift those cheekbones, but really push that brush to kind of get that nice blend. So guys, as you can see, this really kind of starts to deepen up the contour. What I love about this technique is instead of using one contour color just to kind of create that bit of a stripe, it kind of sometimes comes out a bit more of a stripe rather than like a soft blend. I love using a bronzer to sort of warm up my skin tone first, give it that kind of nice first layer, and then blend a darker contour color on top. And it just, I feel like, gives like a bit more of a better finish when it comes to powder contouring. So guys, if you want to advance this contouring one step further, and I love teaching in steps, and this is exactly how I teach in my masterclasses and in my private makeup lessons too. But why I like to teach in steps is because then you guys can decide at what step you sort of want to stop in, and you can kind of see the process of that makeup rather than just seeing the finished product and thinking, how on earth did she create that? But it kind of shows you that it is a process. But what I like to basically do, especially when I really want to slick that contour and, I want to sharpen it up a little bit, I use my face powder that I used all over. You're going to take some powder on your little sponge like this, and you want to make sure you've got a nice kind of even layer on there. And then basically what you're going to do is clean up the bottom of that contour. Now, I promise you this is so satisfying to watch, especially when you get that nice straight line. So this is really good for, anyone who feels like their contour was a little bit messy, maybe looked a little bit muddy, you know, kind of like just to sort of sharpen it up. But what you want to do is obviously go underneath that. You can just keep going until you've got a nice sort of even layer of powder. I told you guys it was really satisfying to watch. And the reason I use a sponge, guys, is because it just gives a better finish. With a brush, you'll basically get a bit of a softer application of powder. With a sponge, you get a bit of a thicker application. So a bit like a, you know, more kind of coverage with it, until you can basically see that nice kind of stripe down the side of my face. Now, obviously, that's not something you want to walk away with. So what you're going to do next is you're going to take your powder brush and you're going to use this to basically blend that out. And as you start to blend that out, again, careful not to go over the actual contour bit, guys. So you just want to kind of make sure you're going just underneath that line. Just using the edge of your powder brush, you can go slightly over that line, but definitely make sure that you blend away all that powder that you've just used to clean up your contour. And what you will find is that the result is basically a sharper, more kind of, you know, cleaned up contour. And I find that it also kind of just helps to make it look a little bit smoother as well, and just blend in better with the rest of the face too. Don't be worried if you do make a mistake with contouring. There's always a way to clean it up, and that's one of my favorite tips to do and favorite kind of tricks as well. So guys, you've done your contour, but of course we want to add a bit of color to the cheeks. Now your contour obviously adds, you know, that kind of shape to the face and a little bit of shading where you need it. But blusher, on the other hand, which I love blusher, helps to kind of create that nice healthy flush on your cheeks, which I think always suits everyone and is really flattering. So I'm going to use the same brush that I use for my contour, but this time I'm going to use the fluffier side to apply my blusher. Now everyone always says to me, you know, if I've done my contour, where do I apply my blush? Is it on top of it? Does it go below it? The answer is, guys, if you basically give yourselves a big smile like this, basically the apple of your cheek, which is the bit that sticks out. This is really hard to do when you're like talking at the same time. So your contour went from here to down to here. So this time mainly focusing on the fluffy side of your brush, you're just going to take it from here and basically blend it and almost sweep it into your contour. So you can use more of like a sweeping action if you prefer, but always starting from that kind of apple of the cheek. I'm looking like this right now. Guys, it's really hard to do when you're talking at the same time, trust me. So it's almost like your blusher and your contour sort of like meet up together. So guys, how much blusher you want to put on is completely your choice, so I'll leave that up to you guys. But of course, we need to finish this off with our highlight. And today, guys, I'm using the gorgeous Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit. This is just so pretty. So if I basically open this up, you can see that there are loads of kind of like highlighting options. So obviously, guys, you don't need to buy like, you know, a palette like this unless you're like, you know, a really big fan of highlight and you like sort of layering the colors, because some people really like the extra glow. You can just get one highlighter on one color on its own. That would suit you as well. But in terms of highlighting, guys, kind of want to go like obviously lighter than your skin tone because you're trying to highlight. Something like this, for example, that's a bit more bronze would work as a really nice highlight on like deeper skin tones. Something like this would be nice for like sort of fairer skin tones, and then these two you're kind of looking at more medium to olive skin tones, a bit like myself. So I'm going to go ahead with this one here called Moonstone. And for highlighting, guys, I am using my lovely little fan brush because you don't want your highlighter looking like a stripe. So you need a brush that's just going to give you that kind of light sort of layer of highlight. When you go in with your highlight, it's going to sit right on top of your contour. So your contour was kind of below here. Your highlight sits just on top of your cheekbones. Now notice I'm going really quick back and forth with my brush, so just a really quick back and forth motion. What that does is it basically blends out the highlight much more nicely. And guys, you can use the same highlight just down the center of the nose as well. Now you might have noticed I have not contoured my nose. I'm just adding a little bit of highlight. Now there's a reason for that, guys. I'm a bit more of a controversial makeup artist in the sense that I'm probably not going to say the same thing that a lot of other makeup artists do online, but that's because I genuinely believe that no one needs to really change the shape of their nose. It's absolutely fine for whoever wants to do it, you know, no judgment whatsoever. I have this belief that we are born exactly the way we're meant to be, and we're perfect exactly the way we are. Everyone has different noses. This is my personal opinion. as soon as you start to contour your nose, A, it can be really hard to get it right, and you may look like you've kind of got two stripes down the side of your nose because it's a lot harder to blend out. B, it kind of changes the whole shape of your face as well. And you know, if you're more like me, I like to use makeup to sort of enhance our features rather than completely change what we look like. Then I think just adding a little bit of highlight in the center of your nose is a lot more flattering. So if you still put light down the center of your nose, it still gives that illusion of it kind of coming closer together. So it's like a bit more of a flattering angle, and also adds a nice touch of glow as well. But again, guys, that is my opinion. If you agree, drop me a comment below. If you don't, you can also drop me a comment below. I'm an open person, guys, no judgment. But, you know, I do have my personal opinions when it comes to makeup. And I think that's okay. We all have different ideas and ideals when it comes to makeup. And I think we can all still talk about it. So guys, the very last thing you want to do, because you're almost finished with your highlight and contour, is basically if you feel like there's a bit of like a line between your contour and where you've done your highlighter, do you remember your blusher brush or your contour brush, basically what we use for both? You can use the little fluffy tip, so that little edge, and literally what you want to do is you don't want to go over the whole thing, but just that line, just using the tip of the brush, just go over that line where the highlight and that contour meets. And it starts to just blend that in together. You can even just go over your blusher a little bit. So I haven't put anything extra on my brush, guys. This is literally just what was left over. So guys, I have just finished off with a lovely red lip. And like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want to see more of this look that I created last week, then do head over to my Valentine's Day glam tutorial. That's already been uploaded, so you can find it on my channel and you can check it out. Really hope you enjoyed today's guide on highlighting and contouring, and if you want to see more of these kind of beginner makeup tutorials, then do drop me a comment below to let me know you're interested, and I'll start making more of them. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on new videos every week. And drop me a follow on Instagram if you want to see more of what I get up to. I also do a lot of bridal clients and I teach private makeup classes, so to see more about that, give me a little follow on Insta. And as always, guys, stay beautiful, stay you. The foundation I've used is the Chanel. You can build this up to however, as you guys can see, you know, in steps, because even when I do kind of like my face powder that I used right at the beginning, and it kind of, it's just so pretty. So basically if I open it up, I've got to take the plastic off.